has hosted, so you're able to play around with it and sort of use it yourself. So that's where things like this are sort of really, really good, especially when you're just sort of getting into visualization, because if you know you like a visualization and the data behind it sort of resonates with you, it's a lot easier to then sort of go away and create some really nice visualizations. So yeah, some really good ones coming through there, and I've dropped them all into the deck, which we'll share so everyone can have a browse through later on. But hopefully, what it's sort of shown is that um, there's so many different different ones basically, but also that what may you may think of, like say, has been quite sort of what's the word, with data that is quite dry, quite difficult to work with, is you can produce some really good results by having that sort of creative side to it as well. So it's not just sort of limited to having sort of the technical skills from a data perspective. You can use things like Canva, Photoshop and things like that to create visualizations, and it doesn't have to be, it can translate into sort of business, it can translate into sort of just data that you're interested in personally. We used to produce an infographic, for example, in my previous role, every week, that it looked at sort of the business performance, but also incorporated things around like new hires and new starters and things like that. So it just shows what you can sort of do with it. And I think we mentioned it yesterday, but the likes of Spotify have absolutely nailed it with sort of Spotify Wrapped and the ability to sort of get people talking about visualizing data in a really, really good way. Especially the way that they've done it in sort of like the Instagram story style. So it's sort of changing how companies use data and how they present it. But yeah, so hopefully everyone found that useful. Like I say, hopefully found it like I say, quite informative in terms of what you can do with data. So sort of recap what we've done over the last sort of day or so. We started off by a bit of an intro into BI and analytics and sort of me and sort of how the role sits within businesses and how it works sort of day to day, which hopefully you found interesting, and maybe some of you might want to sort of pursue a career in sort of data and analytics. If it is something you're interested in learning more about, then like I said before, drop me, Nye, or Dan a message. I'm more than happy to have a call and sort of chat through any advice or even just any questions you have or want to learn more about it, and different tools or different things you should be looking at. It's absolutely fine. Or even if it's just some help in sort of reporting and data analytics in your own company or a company that you're working with, like I say, more than happy to have a call or have a chat. Not a problem. So again, we'll sort of share this, but a couple of resources that I'd recommend, and like I say again, absolutely not exhaustive, but good sort of starting point. Google Academy has some really good sort of analytics, data studio, and tag manager courses, which we've mentioned. The one thing I would say about the Google Academy ones, it's really, really good, is that you do get sort of a recognised qualification at the end. They are free. The Google Analytics one especially it sets you up really well to do what's called the Google Analytics IQ exam. It's not sort of really intensive, in-depth exam. It takes about an hour, but it gives you sort of a certificate that sort of confirms that you can sort of do certain things in Google Analytics. You understand certain concepts, and a lot of, not all jobs, but a lot of roles within sort of web analytics specifically do ask for that qualification. Basically, because it just sort of highlights that you've got sort of the basic comprehension, and you can say do those certain things. The same with Data Studio and Tag Manager. Whilst the Data Studio and Tag Manager courses might not go really, really in depth and be really, really and give you like a really, really intense knowledge, they set you up for a really good sort of base to be able to use Data Studio and Tag Manager within a business. So they're ones I definitely recommend probably first tackling if it's an area you want to learn more about. Secondly, I've mentioned sort of these enterprise DNA courses before. The Ultimate Beginner's Guide to Power BI is brilliant. Like I say, I did it about 10 years ago when I first started working with Power BI. It's a free video series. They have paid courses, but this one is free. And like I say, they're constantly updated. So it is sort of, even though I did it that long ago, it's still relevant. And like I say, it gives you some real life data sets that you can download in Excel and build out a report alongside the videos. And like I say, again, it sets you up some really good best practices for working with Power BI, especially around sort of naming conventions and data structures, and it makes it sort of really easy to understand. You don't need, like I say, a really strong technical base to start. There's a Udemy course that's a little bit more in depth around Data Studio that I've done in the past. Again, I'd recommend doing the Google one first and seeing where that takes you. If it's something that you feel confident with, after that, then maybe not need for it. But if you want to learn a bit more, then that's there. And then the two blogs that are linked below are sort of both quite big thought leaders within analytics and data. The first one is a guy called Avinash, who originally was sort of very, very involved in sort of the web analytics, spent a lot of time working for Google, And he focuses very much originally sort of on how web analytics plays a part within business. Now it's a lot more sort of broader on marketing and analytics in general, but his blog's brilliant. Like, I still get that sent to me sort of I think it's every 2 weeks, and it every so often it'll be a really good sort of idea around a dashboard or relationships between sort of data that you can work with. So I recommend that one. The second one is a guy called Seymour Harbour, who's sort of one of the leading Google Analytics experts out there. It is a bit more advanced, so he sort of focuses a lot more on like custom implementations and attribution and things like that. But he's definitely worth following and keeping an eye on. Like I say, he himself has his own courses that he puts out there that, again, I think like I say, are quite valuable within the industry. So he's a really good one to keep an eye on. Like I say, a bit more on the technical side, but if it's something you're interested in, it's definitely worth dipping your toe in with that one. So like I say, hopefully you've sort of found the last day and a half, or last day, useful and interesting. And like I say, I've said previously, if anyone has any questions, wants to chat any further, just drop myself, Dan, Naira a message. Feel free to have me on LinkedIn. Absolutely fine, not a problem. What I also wanted to leave you with, obviously, Naira will be doing the quiz with you this afternoon, but there's a bit of an optional task that I mentioned before. So within the slide deck, which will get shared with you, there's a few links here to some Google Sheets data sets. So there's a top line data and a product data. And basically what they are is just it's real life anonymized data, sort of by day, sessions, transactions, revenue, product details view, add to carts, conversion rate, average order value, add to cart percentages. And then from the product data perspective, it's a similar view. It's some anonymized product data by date, product revenue, units sold, product views, and add to carts. If you wanted to use that data, feel free to just download a copy and sort of play around with it, whether it's in Excel, whether it's in Google Sheets, whether it's in Data Studio, even if maybe you want to try and visualize something in Canva or in Photoshop, have a play around with it. Within the deck as well, there's a couple of potentially examples that you might want to try. So you might want to look at trending things over the last 30 days in a chart. You might want to look at sort of finding out the variance between these two, between different values at different times. Same with product. And then a couple of questions you might want to answer based on the data set. So just a few examples there. If anyone wants to have a go at that, and feel free to send me your answers, more than happy to chat through. Done that for a few people. But yeah, very much an optional one that if it's something you want to take any further. But otherwise, yeah, I hope you enjoy the quiz this afternoon. And all best of luck with the final project and everything. But yeah, I hope you've enjoyed the last day and a half, and it was great to meet you all and sort of chat to you.
Thanks, Mark. That was really, really useful. I'm sure everyone found it really useful. As you can see from the chat.
No worries.
Thanks for coming through. Thank you so much. I'll let you go.
No worries. Yeah, like I say, any questions, anyone wants to chat about anything, just give me a shout.
Yeah, I've dropped Mark's LinkedIn in the chat, so if you guys want to add him up, you can do so. Guys, just mindful of time, we've got to get speaker at 2, so if you could come back at 1:55 for lunch. Don't worry if you haven't finished, because we will give you some extra time after the guest speaker as well, just to have a bit of a break. But if you can come back on the same link, everyone, at 1:55. See you then.
Thanks, everyone.